All right, we say good afternoon. David Heurtel is going to be in for Jimeni today. David, thanks very much for coming on today. As people know, I think David Heurtel, former Quebec Liberal cabinet minister, political analyst. Can I start with the new poll that's out today and what significance we can attach to this? It shows the PQ having gained, it shows the CAQ having gained, but more importantly, I think for some, it shows the Liberals continuing to lose ground.
I think, Aaron, that is the headline of this poll. This poll was conducted and included, the period of time during this last weekend when the Liberals were having their big general council meeting. We discussed it on Monday. We kind of felt that, he didn't drop the ball. It wasn't bad. There was some energy there. But I remember we discussed this. I expressed some concerns about the fact that Charles Milliard is simply not connecting with Quebecers, especially Francophones, and that's the big problem right now. This poll shows that with Francophones specifically, he's down to 16% support. Now, overall, he's down to 25%. He's hemorrhaging support to the CAQ. Christine Fréchette's momentum is yet again shown to be a real phenomena. Not massive, but she is rising in the polls. She's in third place, 21%, but she's in second place with Francophones. And more importantly also, Aaron, this poll does a deep dive in asking Quebecers about qualities that they find in all the party leaders. And when you look at all these questions, for example, competence, trustworthiness, leadership, able to take tough decisions, honesty, the leader I feel that the leader is close to me, to my reality, or represents change. Okay, those were the questions. I won't go after all of them in order, but what I will say about Charles Milliard is that he's in third place in all of these categories and far away from the leaders. And either, for example, in terms of represents change, which for me is an important one, well, Christine Fréchette is leading this with 23%, Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon at 15%, and Charles Milliard is down to 12%. And same thing for who would make best premier. He's in third place behind Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon and Christine Fréchette. So in terms of looking ahead, the campaign starts in just over 2 months now. And I think Charles Milliard has his strategy simply has not worked. And the people around him that have devised the strategy of saying, wait, and we'll be talking about cost of living, affordability, housing, and healthcare and education. Well, you know what? You've wasted all this time since January, to the point, Aaron, that the Liberals right now are lower than they were when Pablo Rodriguez was at his height last fall, just before the scandal broke. And so all this momentum that had been built up with Pablo Rodriguez, it went back down understandably over the holidays. And then when Pablo Rodriguez left and Charles Milliard came on as leader, that momentum started again. All of that is gone. Now we're below the Pablo Rodriguez levels from last fall. And there doesn't seem to be anything that's gaining traction. Because what Charles Milliard announced, is that we'll be coming out before June 21st with a language plan.
Right.
Nobody wants to hear about it. That's not what Quebecers want to hear about. It's completely disconnected, and Charles Milliard himself still is yet to define himself with the Quebec electorate. I ask anybody when I have conversations, okay, what do the Liberals stand for? What is the Liberal brand? No answer. What does Charles Milliard stand for? What is his brand? What is his defining characteristic? No answer. And until that happens, I'm telling you, the Liberals are going to keep spiraling because, again, whether, even if it's a small number, in Francophone Quebec, in the regions, the Conservatives have a lot of votes. Same thing with the CAQ. Same thing, less and less with the Liberals. But at one point, what's going to happen, the electorate is going to look, do I really want a Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon majority government? And that's going to be the question. And where those Francophone voters are going to go to block PSPP is going to be the question, I think, during the campaign. And right now, Christine Fréchette seems to be that answer.
You know, I wonder how much sort of credence you put in the... I heard explanation from Andre Fortin, obviously being asked to react to this poll, right?
Right.
Suggesting, well, you know, it's really in the case of Charles Milliard, Quebecers don't know this guy. He's only been around for a few months, and that's the rationale here. They'll get to know him. Things will change. Are you buying that a lot?
No, not at all. This man has been around now, really, has been fully present in the media every week, every other day since January. And again, let's remember, how many people actually really knew Mark Carney?
That's fair, yeah.
You know what I mean? Seriously. And so outside of people like you and me who follow this every day, almost every hour sometimes, but I mean, the thing is that ordinary Quebecers didn't know a lot about Mark Carney. And so in this age of social media and constant media attention, that's an argument that you can make, say, in December and January. But the problem, then my answer to that is, okay, respectfully, Andre, then what have you guys been doing for the last 6 months? That's an admission of failure. If you haven't been able to establish the leader of the Quebec Liberal Party as a known quantity, and knowing him for what? Can you tell me where he is? What's his defining message on affordability? Can you tell me what his defining message is on healthcare, on housing, on education? No, all he says all the time, oh, these are priorities. All we know of him, really, that is, pierced through the constant noise of 24/7 media, is his back and forth on language, which did not help him, and what we heard about, the remnants of the Rodriguez scandal. That has occupied the media. Why? Because he hasn't filled the vacuum with anything else. So Quebecers, when they really paid attention about Charles Milliard and the Liberals, well, they heard a bit of the Rodriguez-era scandals with Sonia Lacaran-Olivier, Sona, I should say, and the language fiasco. And so, but those were not big things. Those are things that could have been easily weathered if he had other messages,
right.
If he had something else. I'll give you another example. Who knew Zoran Mamdani in New York City, the mayor of New York? Nobody knew him. I mean, we're in the era of politics where you can come in if you have a strong message and a strong identity.
Right. You
can get your name out there, get through the noise, and get noticed and build off that. Today, saying you're unknown after 6 months, really? That's all you got?
I don't want to run out of time. I do want to get to another story, and I know Jason was mentioning this off the top, and this came up today as well, which is obviously not good news for the CAQ, although we talked about this before. Quebec's Auditor General, provincial government, she says, showed poor planning. I think she's being very nice, actually, in that assessment. $2.2 billion of investments in various battery companies, EV companies, $700 million of it basically gone down the drain.
Yeah. Scandalous. We knew it. François Legault and Pierre Fitzgibbon came to politics and told Quebecers, told us, we're competent. We know what we're doing. And what this reveals yet again is that they didn't know what they were doing at all. And this also will feed into what I think is clear, that the Legault government is clearly one of the worst governments Quebec has had, if not the worst, in the last 50 years. 60 years even. And so the $700 million gone to bankrupt companies. Also, no real planning. Sometimes investment committees saying, well, maybe we shouldn't necessarily go in. Those recommendations were ignored. Putting more money throwing good money after bad.
Yeah.
Even though, there were signs that it wasn't heading in the right direction, we put even more money afterwards. It's just no real guidelines, no real planning, no real risk assessment, anything that you would see in any business, any, basic rules, every basic rule of management, of governance was ignored. And we're paying the bill. Imagine, this is over $2.2 billion while we're talking about infrastructure, crumbling, healthcare issues, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Imagine with that money what we could do right now.
It's a lot of roads. Okay. David, before I let you go, and I hope you don't mind, I need to ask the question because this was something I had not planned on doing today on my show. We ended up doing it as a question after 2 o'clock because so many people started texting in. Are you up to date on the Justin Trudeau, Katy Perry situation?
Are we talking about the scandal with the wandering hand?
That is exactly what we are talking about, yes.
So I guess I'm up to date.
All right, you're on the story?
I'm on it.
Okay. Clearly, this is the most important non-news story of the day, according to people who are texting in. So, just for people who don't, because I might as well set up our question, this is Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau, who have been a couple now for quite some time, at the Tribeca Film Festival in New York City, where she has a movie premiering at the festival, and she's taking pictures and signing autographs, because in this particular case, she's the big star here. Nobody there, I don't think, or not many people, even know who Justin Trudeau is, much less that he's the former Prime Minister of Canada. His hand at one point, and this is a picture taken from the side, shows his hand on the back of, basically on Katy Perry's bum. And people have lost their minds over this, and I don't understand why. I just be curious. You've seen the picture, you know the story, and the scandal. What do you think?
Well, I think it's much ado about nothing.
Thank you.
Here we go again. You have these purity test woke people that need to find something to be scandalized about. I mean, if there's one person that should be scandalized is Katy Perry. She's the only person in this that can express a negative opinion. And if a conversation needed to be had, I'm sure it was had. But beyond that, please.
Doesn't the Prime Minister, and this is something people brought up, yes, he was the Prime Minister, I understand, but he's not anymore. He's has not. A personal life. Should he not be allowed to have his own personal life, or is he always going to be under scrutiny for everything he did if you're a Canadian looking at him?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily about the personal life. I mean, he's at a photo op. There's no privacy issue here. I mean, he's partaking in a photo op. And so I don't think it's about necessarily his personal life. It's about his behavior. And some people, want to get all scandalized about his behavior. If that couple, that's the way they roll, let them roll.
Yeah.
That's it.
If it's okay for her, is it any of our business?
That's it.
David, thank
you. It's not of our business. But again, if she's okay with it, then leave him alone. But on the other side, I don't think it's necessarily a personal, private issue when you're doing a photo op.
Fair enough.
I think also maybe Justin Trudeau, I think, knows how to use media also. I just think now this. Remember when he wore running shoes when the king came?
Yes.
Yeah. He knew what he was doing.
Okay.
So this guy is very astute in how to get media attention, and I think that's what it's all about as well.
Almost seems to me like the last thing he wants, David, is media attention these days.
Really?
Yeah.
His socials don't show that.
Well, I mean, you follow him on social?
Well, I get it. I get bombarded with different pictures of what he's doing with Katy Perry. It's not like they're in hiding.
True.
This was a Tribeca Film Festival photo op. It was the red carpet.
I get that, but he's dating a famous person, and that's just going to be the case. So.
Well, he's a famous person as well.
Not so much in America. Not so much there. I said one of the pictures, by the way, that I thought was amazing to me in a very completely different sense here. She is facing the crowd. They're taking pictures, and he is standing off to the side like a little boy.
Well, yeah.
It's not about me. It's all about her. I'll wait till she's finished. I just thought that was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So there you go.
The newest tracks. Let's go. New music. music, and the next big thing.
Always on the new music first.
Your first place to hear it all.
'Cause you gon' like it, love it, wanna play it twice. Playing now.
iHeart New Music. Your digital station for brand new drops, fresh finds, and tomorrow's bangers. Powered by North by Northeast Music Festival. Taking place June 10th to 14th across Toronto. iHeart New Music. Stream now, online, on your smart speaker, and preset on the free iHeartRadio app.